Hi, I'm Debbie.
And I'm Megan.
We are real life scientists, and we want to share some sciencey stories that are crazy, sometimes inebriating, and a little bit parody sounding, but with a Mad Libs twist. You are listening to Lab Libs.
I'm a bio-pirate, actually.
A mouse on a frog? You can't put a mouse on a frog, can you? Square dancing!
Square dancing!
Woo! Yeehaw!
Okie dokie.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. What you got for me?
Doing a lot of sciencey stuff this week.
Oh, yeah. So much science. As always. My life is full of science.
Yeah, me too. That's all I do. Okay, so I've got a little bit of an interesting start point today. We're going to do a couple of fun things, okay?
Okay.
Okay, first of all, today I'm going to give you 2 different quotes out of context, and I'm going to tell you on both who said them.
Oh, so a little bit of context.
A little bit of context.
Okay.
And then also, I was hoping that after I give you those 2 quotes, maybe you can guess what you think this subject is going to be about. Like, just out of the blue, wild, who cares? You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that combined with the Lab Libs, if you can piece together what you think this could be involved in. Okay? Okay, so my first quote today is by Thomas Beams, who was a social investigator for Parliament
Okay.
in the UK. And he wrote, "The Rookeries of London, 1850s." It was a publication thing he did, like a report, I guess. He focused on housing conditions, and he says, quote, "Every room swarms with inmates. In one cellar, 7 Irish families were huddled together, the floor damp, the walls green with slime, the air so foul that the candle burned dim."
What? That sounds pretty bad.
It's crazy, right?
That sounds dire.
And the second quote is going to be one of the Lab Libs. So
Oh, okay.
your first category was an English novelist in the 19th century.
Okay.
And
You know, I had to look up, like,
I figured you
what novelists were in the
might have
19th
to,
century.
but I was like,
there were quite a few that I was
there's
familiar
quite a
with.
few, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said Jane Austen.
Yeah.
Great answer. Incorrect answer.
Incorrect. All right.
Charles Dickens. Wrote.
You know, I didn't put Charles Dickens because I was like, that one's too obvious.
Well, number 1. So in his book, Sketches by Boz, he used a town as inspiration for a lot of his books, including Oliver Twist. But in Sketches by Boz, he wrote, quote, "Hideous tenements reeking with filth and damp, the tainted air with odors of gin, misery, and disease."
Wow, that's a great line.
It's great, right?
That's a fantastic line.
Man, I wish I could write like that. Right? Odors of gin, misery, and disease. Like
Odors
that's
of gin,
right.
misery, and
I love it. Yeah. So he used this town as like inspiration for a lot of those novels that he wrote. The squalid neighborhoods that he writes about in a lot of his stories. He was using this place as inspiration.
Okay. So those are my 2 quotes about these disgusting sounding places.
Yeah, right.
Full of gin, misery, and disease.
Correct. Okay. So your second Lab Libs is right off the top here. And it says, oh, I'm sorry. You were going to guess.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah. Okay. So what's
Okay. So I have to guess based on those 2 quotes.
And your Lab Libs.
And the Lab Libs.
What you think this topic is going to be about.
It's got to be something about the buildings.
Right.
Because you asked so much about building materials.
Correct.
So I think something is like rotting in the walls of the buildings or something along that. That's my guess.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see
Final
how.
answer.
Yeah. Let's see how you did.
All right.
Okay. So your second lab lives is St. Giles is a neighborhood in blank, England.
I didn't even guess in England. I guess
Your
the capital of
category
Scotland.
was a city in the UK. I didn't want to make it too obvious, so I
Yeah.
said UK. So it's London.
Again, I didn't guess London because
It's
it was too obvious.
Right. I know.
Of course, that's the first one I thought of, especially when you are asking me for a city in the UK because you're obsessed with London.
Of course. Okay, so St. Giles is a neighborhood in London, England. It's a neighborhood like north of Covent Garden in London. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the terrain over there, but Covent Garden is kind of an upper class, like shops and vibrant,
Right.
social shops and everything. And this is a neighborhood just north of Covent Garden. So it's like a mixed development with office spaces, restaurants, residential apartments, and a public piazza today.
Okay.
That's what St. Giles looks like today.
I'm guessing you're going to tell me about how it looked really different
Right.
in the 19th century.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in the 1800s, it was more well known as St. Giles Rookery. Do you know what a rookery is?
No.
Okay.
All I know is there's a rook in chess.
Yeah, right. It's not
Does that have to do with the rookery?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
This is a very anyway, I'll give you the explanation. So the word rookery originates from a description of a place where rooks, which is a type of crow, nested in large numbers. They were noisy, crowded, and dirty.
Okay.
But by the 1700s, the word rookery took on a different meaning. It began being used as slang to describe slum districts in cities like London.
Oh, that's not
Places
very
that
nice.
were overcrowded, unsanitary, and associated with crime and vice. And this almost perfectly describes St. Giles in the 1800s.
Okay. I love old slang.
Right? It's great.
I love hearing what metaphors
They would
use.
they would call it the rooks, like stuff like that,
Yeah.
Okay. The neighborhood had become overcrowded with unsanitary housing, and entire families that were mainly Irish often rented single rooms, half rooms, or even just a bed,
Wow.
sharing space with strangers. So this is your third lab lib, and the area was so densely populated that up to blank families might live in a single room, and many families lived in basement cellars. Your category was a number less than 5, I believe. Was that correct?
I think so.
Where did my little sticky note go now? That's upsetting. There it is. Okay. So your category was a number less than 5. What did you say?
I said 4.
You said 4. Okay. Do you think you were right?
This is how many families would live
In a single room. And in basement cellars.
That seems like too many, but I guess I wouldn't be surprised by that.
Yeah. Well, it's close. It's 3.
Okay.
3 families.
Like, considering what you were already telling me about
Right.
the situation, it seems like,
Yeah.
geesh, 3 families. And then that's not like 3 people. That's
No, like
probably
3 families.
10 plus people.
Right. Yeah, in one room. Needless to say, the conditions weren't great, and many of the buildings, the houses, the pubs had broken windows and were just in a complete state of disrepair.
Yeah.
There was narrow courts and alleyways and this labyrinth of just a very interesting sounding place. But the Horseshoe Brewery was situated on Tottenham Court Road in St. Giles.
Okay.
The brewery dated back to 1764 and was founded by a guy named Thomas Fassett and was later expanded under Henry Mew, that's M-E-U-X, who had split with his father from a different brewery. And by 1795, it was known as Mew and Company's Horseshoe Brewery.
Oh, okay.
It's a mouthful if you ask me,
Yeah.
but that's what he went with, okay? So, your third lab lib was an alcoholic beverage. The next sentence is, it was one of the largest breweries in London and brewed only porter, a dark blank that was first brewed in London and was the most popular alcoholic drink in the capital. You said
Definitely
tequila.
not tequila. Can you imagine if they were all drinking tequila in London?
This is the most famous drink in the capital.
They invented it. London. They invented tequila in London. You heard it here first.
So what do you think it is?
This is my time to remind everyone that if you take anything we say on this show out of context, yes, we're making false statements here. Like, yes. We know that tequila was not invented in London.
We
Don't
should
make
maybe
misleading
also let
quotes
people
about
know
us.
that we're like two of the most sarcastic people on the planet. A guy that I worked with once said to me, when I said something funny, he said, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Oh, I forget 90% of the stuff that comes out of your mouth is bullshit." And I was like, yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
I think porter is a type of it's not like whiskey or anything.
Now,
Is
keep
it
in mind, this
gin?
is a brewery.
It's a brewery. Oh, okay. So is it just beer?
It's a beer.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a beer.
I was thinking too hard.
I think maybe because I kept thinking port, which is something else, I
Yeah.
think. But it's porter.
Okay.
It's a dark brew with apparently chocolate caramel profile.
Oh.
Yeah. Fancy, right? And the Horseshoe Brewery was producing about 100,000 barrels of the porter each year.
Wow. Okay. So they were really drinking it.
They were
really
living it up.
drinking it.
Yeah. I think they were number 5, like the 5th largest brewery at the time in London. Your next lab lib is a building material. So the sentence goes, it had even installed a gigantic blank fermentation vat that was 22 feet high and capable of holding hundreds of thousands of gallons
What?
of porter.
That's crazy. I can't even imagine like a giant barrel.
Yeah, a giant barrel.
Is it wood?
It's wood.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
What
said
did you say?
concrete.
Concrete.
Could you imagine it was concrete? That
No,
wouldn't make
yeah.
very good
No,
probably alcohol.
I
don't
wouldn't think so, but I don't know.
I don't know. I think the wood is important.
Maybe. We'll see. Okay, so yes, a gigantic wooden fermentation vat that was 22 feet high.
22 feet. I cannot even picture. That's like 4.5 of me standing on top of each other, which is crazy.
That's a lot. I can't even picture it, to be honest with you. Your next lab lib is in this sentence too, but I'll read the sentence out. It says, it also had 81 metric tons of metal hoops that were used to strengthen the vat with just one hoop weighing blank pounds.
What do you mean hoop?
Like rings. They call
In
them
the
hoops,
barrel?
but rings. No, the outside.
Oh, how
Like
many are there?
stabilizing the vat. It doesn't say how many there are, but it's 81 metric tons
Oh, 81 metric tons.
of metal.
Making these rings?
Yes.
My eyes are wide, listeners. That's what my facial expression is right now.
So let's do some quick math. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
How many pounds do you think each hoop weighed?
Maybe if there's like
The
five-
category was a number between 600 and 800.
Oh, I'll go with my
You
answer.
said 717.
717.
That was a very good answer. It's 700 pounds. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 700 pounds each hoop. So
Okay. Wow.
at around 4:30 in the afternoon on the day of October 17th in 1814, a clerk named George Crick saw that one of those metal hoops had slipped off of the vat of porter.
Oh.
That held 3,555 imperial barrels of brew, or 135,000 gallons of 10-month-old porter.
Okay. Wait. Oh no.
Yeah.
I feel
Right.
like I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. So
Oh no.
George did tell his supervisor about the problem. The supervisor told him, like, it really wouldn't cause much harm. Like, they had these hoops slip before. Normally,
Oh, really?
it kind of adjusts, and the other ones hold the vat until, I guess, they get that one repaired.
I guess I can see the logic there because I was trying to do some.
You
rough
wouldn't think
math,
just one hoop.
right? Because
Yeah.
let me see. I want to figure out how many hoops there were. Then
Yeah.
there's 2,200 pounds in a metric ton. You said there were 81 metric tons.
Yes. Yeah.
That's 178,200 pounds.
Divided by 700.
Divided by 700 is 250.
Hoops? Huh. Interesting. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know the answer to that.
regardless of that, I'm sure there were a lot. If the barrel was 22 feet high, there had to be like a dozen or more
Yeah.
hoops
Yeah.
around it.
There
right?
were a lot from the pictures and stuff I saw, or drawings, I should say, not really pictures, but drawings. It seemed like there was a lot holding like one vat together.
Right.
So
So they said, no big deal.
not a big deal. Write a note to Mr. Young, who was one of the partners, and he'd have it fixed later. Okay.
Right.
So about an hour after the hoop slipped off, George Crick, the storehouse clerk, was standing on a platform about 30 feet away from the giant vat when it suddenly and violently burst without warning.
He was standing how far away from it?
30 feet.
Oh no.
Yeah. The tremendous release of the porter blew the valve off of a neighboring vat,
Oh gosh, it's like a domino effect.
which also began to empty,
Oh god.
and several hogsheads.
What is that?
Right, I looked it up. It's a barrel type thing, and it holds 54 gallons.
Oh.
So a few of those were smashed.
Oh no.
And those contents join this big torrent, okay? So in total, between 128,000 and 323,000 imperial gallons surged out of the brewery. Lib,
Okay.
the...
That's so. Can we take a second? Because that's so much beer.
I know!
That's so much beer to like flood the city.
Yes!
Oh gosh.
yeah.
Oh, I guessed that something was rotting in the walls.
I know, yeah, and it was kind of like a disaster type thing,
Oh
like...
man, it's like a tsunami, but it's beer. But it's like currently
Exactly.
fermenting.
A lot of the articles called it a tsunami.
because it's not even done beer.
No.
It's like beer that's actively in the process of fermenting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Ew, that's so gross.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so your next lab lib was a number between 10 and 20. The sentence is, a wave of porter some blank feet high
Oh my god, a wave?
swept into New Street.
Oh no.
So you said 19? What do you think?
It can't be 19.
Okay.
I hope it's not. I hope it's lower than that.
Yeah.
Is it like 12?
It's 15.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yep. 15
Oh
foot high.
no.
Yeah. And then your next lab lib is, the force was so great it demolished the brewery's rear wall, which was blank feet high and about 2.5 bricks thick. And the category was a number less than 30.
Which is how high the wall is?
Yes,
The
you
rear
said
wall.
23. The rear wall of the brewery.
Okay, it's got to be taller than the barrel. So
You would think.
it's more than 22.
Yeah. It's 25. I imagine maybe some places like it was taller inside or something. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But the rear wall that ended up blowing out was 25 foot high rear wall. So the tidal wave of beer smashed into nearby streets, buildings, and slum housing. Entire walls collapsed. Basements filled with beer. And it was just
my
an alcohol-fueled havoc was wreaked on this poor neighborhood.
Wow.
So, how did this happen? Before we move on to results here.
Okay.
How did this happen?
Sure.
So, beer fermentation involves adding yeast to beer that will then convert sugars into alcohol and carbon dioxide.
Right.
So, in a sealed giant vat, the buildup of carbon dioxide created like an immense outward pressure, like with fermentation.
But that's like normal, right?
Yes. I'm just talking about why this would all of a sudden like explode like this, basically. You know what I mean?
So what, like I am curious though, like what happened? That it must have to do with the hoop.
Right.
But
okay.
Usually the pressure is able to build inside of the barrel and it's no problem.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So your next lab lib was a type of metal. So I didn't tell you earlier what the hoops were made of. So these vats were reinforced with heavy blank hoops functioning like barrel rings to resist this force.
What did I say?
You said platinum, which is funny. But
Platinum would
wildly
not
wrong.
be good for this task. Isn't it like notoriously brittle?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's iron.
That makes
Hence why it like weighed so much. The hoops weighed so much. But the iron used in 1814 was far less reliable than our modern steel. So over time, the hoops could stretch, corrode, weaken. When one hoop finally gave way, the loss of that single point of reinforcement caused it to have like a catastrophic structural failure under the stress of that hoop being gone, and
I see.
Entire thing
So
collapsed.
the hoops usually function to like constrain the pressure
Correct.
from bursting out.
Correct.
And in such a way then they're like placed because that's the best way to hold that pressure together.
Right.
So, okay, that makes sense. I didn't know that there was so much physics in like how a barrel is made.
I didn't either.
You know, I didn't realize that it would need to withstand all of this pressure.
Right. I thought it was just like holding the wood together. Like,
yeah, and I would think like the pressure would just be released somehow, but then it wouldn't be sealed. So
yeah.
I
don't know. Oh, and it wouldn't be carbonated then too if it released all the carbon dioxide. But anyway, let's talk about the aftermath of the flood.
Wow. Well, it has to be like people had to have drowned in beer.
Yeah.
That's something that had to have happened, right?
Right.
And like also you just got to tear those buildings down because they're damaged and smelling like beer forever.
Right. Yeah. It smelled like beer in this town for like 6 months after.
Wow.
The flood destroyed.
Wait. Imagine you leave for like a week, you know? And you come back. And you're like, excuse me? What happened?
Sorry, what?
I'm sorry, what? What flooded the town? Not water?
I'm sorry. I heard you say beer, but that's not what you meant.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, the flood destroyed 2 houses outright and badly damaged 2 other ones. Like I said, they weren't sturdy middle-class homes. They were fragile and overcrowded tenements in the Rookery.
Okay.
Where multiple families shared the small rooms or cellars. And this was also a low-lying area and poorly drained, so...
I'm not surprised by that.
Right. So the beer poured into the cellars where entire families lived. Some tried to save themselves by climbing on tables and furniture. Yeah. When rescuers started trying to get to everything, it says like their clothes were drenched in this liquor. They were wading through beer.
Oh my God.
And was trying to keep everyone quiet so they could hear the screams and stuff of people that were buried under the rubble to try and save people. So they were trying to find people that were trapped inside. Elaine Cooper, who was 14 years old and apparently a servant at the Tavistock Arms pub, which was right next door to the brewery, she was buried when that wall, that 25-foot wall I talked about, collapsed. She was outside like washing pots and it collapsed on her and she died.
Wow.
Yeah. Hannah Bamfield, who was 4 years old, was having a tea party with her mother and another child when the wave hit. Her mother and the other child were swept out of a window into the street and survived, but Hannah was killed.
Wow.
In another house basement, there was an Irish family gathered to mourn the loss of their 2-year-old boy who had just died. And when the torrent crashed in, it killed all 5 of them.
Oh my God.
No, so actively
That's so
having like
sad.
a wake. Yeah, that was Anne Seville, who was the boy's mother. That was Mary Mulvey and her 3-year-old son. Elizabeth, who was 27, Catherine Butler, who was 65, and then in another house, Sarah Bates, who was another child, was found dead in another house on the street.
So how many?
It was
died?
8 in total.
Okay.
It was 8 in total.
Wow, I really expected. I think I'm just bad at estimating, and I always think that more people die in natural disasters than they really do. Not that this is a natural disaster, but
Well, I can't remember.
how large of an
I can't
area?
remember if I put this in there or not, but one thing that saved it from being like a higher death toll was that it was in the middle of the day and all the men were working.
Oh, I see.
So it primarily killed women and children because the men were all out working.
Their job or whatever.
If it had been like 2 hours later, they said it would have been even more catastrophic because all the men would have been home from work. Yeah.
And how big of an area was flooded? Was my big question.
I don't know. I didn't.
Is it like a few blocks? Are we talking?
I think a couple blocks.
Then that is like quite a lot of people for a small area.
I think it was just a
I don't know
couple
why
of
I
blocks.
was imagining like a huge torrential,
Right.
like the whole all of London or something. Like, covered
No,
in
I
beer.
think it was a pretty relatively small little block.
Wow.
You know, but all the brewery workers actually survived.
Even the person that was right next to it?
Even the person that was right next to it.
How?
But several of them had to be like dug out of the rubble and everything.
My other question is, did anyone get drunk like by accident? Like just because they were flooded with alcohol? Like they must have swallowed like so much of it, and then it's like all over their skin. They're like soaked in it. Like,
Yeah.
do you think any of them got drunk from the wave?
I don't
beer?
think so. But what I will tell you is the prejudice that surrounded this conversation in this Irish immigrant neighborhood,
Yeah.
there was so many rumors. And from everything that I researched, almost all of the sources say that they were not true rumors, but this is how it got ran for forever, basically. They all ran into the streets collecting the beer and getting drunk, and some of them even died from alcohol poisoning.
Oh
and
my God.
yeah.
Which, like, if something so, like, horrific happened, you would not be out in the
Let me
street
take
drinking
this
the beer off
opportunity
of the
to
ground.
ground beer.
Filthy ground beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
People will just make up anything.
Yeah,
to
and
be
they
hateful.
put all that prejudice behind it because it was Irish immigrants who were not treated well at the time.
Yeah.
So, people in the neighborhood responded quickly to the tragedy. At the Ship Public House on Bainbridge Street, which I take as like a public gathering place type thing, held another wake for the original people that were having a wake for their 2-year-old son.
Wow.
And people were asked to contribute 6 pence or a shilling towards funeral expenses. That's like 6 to 12 cents.
Okay.
So with that collection at the ship, plus other victims were displayed out in the open. Apparently this is not strange. And people would come to donate money for their burial. I don't know.
Like their body was displayed?
Yeah.
In a coffin or something?
No, I don't know. No, not a coffin. They needed money to,
So it was just like laying on the ground?
yeah, I guess.
What?
Maybe on a table. Who knows? I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. They laid the bodies out in order to collect
So
money
people
for
would see
donations.
the dead body and be like, oh man.
I guess
need a-"
where else are you going to put them anyway? Like, I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Right.
They'll like see it every day, and they'll be like, "I guess I'll
I
pitch
gotta
in
throw
to
some money at that. Yeah.
help them bury this body so that I can stop looking at it."
Okay, so
That's so okay.
all right. So with that ship, the ship public house and the victim displays, money collection of all those things. This is your next lab. They collected a total amount that I gave you a number between 30 and 40. And you said 34. And they
34
all...
what?
What?
Like what?
Pounds
Pounds
of money. Pounds of money.
Pounds of money.
British pounds. You know, like British pounds.
I was waiting for you to do a bad English accent. I was waiting for it. I was like, I can't believe we've got. I just thought that a few minutes ago. I said, I can't believe we've gotten this far, and Debbie hasn't said an English accent. Okay.
Okay, so they were able to collect 33 pounds.
33? Oh, I was close.
Total. Yes,
Wow, I
you
was
said
so
34,
close.
so that's great. Do you think that sounds like a lot?
No.
Like for the time?
I mean, I guess everything was dirt cheap compared to what things cost now, but that doesn't seem like enough to bury many people.
I didn't think so either. I was like, okay, obviously that's more than, I'm feeling like it is, but that still can't be like quite enough. But I'll give you some statistics on it. In 1814, 33 pounds was a pretty meaningful sum.
Oh.
Which actually equals about 3,000 to 3,500 pounds in modern UK money.
What? I did not know that.
Or 3,800 to 4,500 US dollars in today money.
Oh, okay. That sounds more right about how much it costed.
In terms of average earnings at the time, a laborer might earn 25 to 30 pounds per year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this was a big fund that they put together.
Yeah.
So that was a year's salary then.
Right. That amount they collected was actually pretty good. So
Yeah.
It represented more than a year's wages for one working man. So at this time, a modest working class funeral in the early 19th century might cost 2 to 5 pounds.
Wow, so they really did collect enough to do all these 8 funerals.
Yep. So with over 8 victims, the 33 pounds raised would have just been enough to cover like simple burials, coffins, and like the basic mourning arrangements. Nothing elaborate. This was pretty striking because the victims were mostly poor Irish immigrants, but the locals still gave enough to ensure that the dead were not like buried as paupers. So that's nice, I guess. After the flood, okay, put on your angry face. Okay.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
You ready for it? Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. After the flood, the Mew and Company Horseshoe Brewery, which doesn't sound so lucky anymore, does it?
No, it does not.
Was brought to court for an inquest.
Good.
So today, the deaths, injuries, destruction might qualify as like manslaughter or even negligence or whatever.
Yeah.
But in 1814, different. You ready for this?
Okay.
The court ruled the disaster an act of God.
Excuse me.
An unforeseeable accident beyond human control.
An unforeseeable accident.
Beyond human control.
But it was completely within human action and control. Oh, no.
Act of God.
It was an act of God.
Nowadays, they use that term for like hurricanes, real floods, storms, real catastrophes caused by nature. But this was apparently an act of God. But, I mean, no one could have control.
No one
sure.
could have foreseen this happening.
No.
You know who definitely couldn't have foreseen this happening? The person who saw the hoop fall off
and told
then
someone.
Reported it to the people in charge.
Yeah.
And then those people said, that's fine.
Right. We'll get back to that.
That's no big deal.
Yeah, I'm sure he was fine.
I'm sure he couldn't have foreseen it, is my point.
Of course.
Absolutely unforeseeable.
Unforeseen. I mean, this is just an act of God.
Wow. Yeah, I
What
mean,
can you do?
that's what was common during this time period, was that there were no worker
Right.
unions, there were no worker rights, there were no like regulations protecting any safety protocols, or responsible parties were not held accountable.
So this meant that no one was held criminally responsible. Therefore, no compensation was awarded to the victims' families.
Wow. Yeah, and not just the victims' families of the people who died, but what about all the destruction that this must have caused? I know you said only 2 houses were completely demolished, but everything was covered in beer.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. No, it was a lot of damages, like I said. Yeah, they didn't have
For them to get no compensation is...
no compensation for any of that.
Wow.
The brewery also lost 300,000 gallons of beer, which was a ruinous sum for them.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's so much beer. I mean, it was their whole giant barrel.
But
It was the whole giant, ginormous barrel.
But unlike the victims' families, Parliament granted the company a waiver to fully excise them of the taxes for the lost porter.
How nice!
Which
What happened to it being an act of God?
which was about 7,000 pounds, equivalent to hundreds of thousands today.
7,000 pounds! They could have given the people affected like a few of those.
Pounds, yeah.
Really, just a few.
Yeah.
Because
That was an act of God.
33 was
That's
an
what you're not-
insane amount.
I think
for
what
them
you're
to
not
collect.
think-
So
What you're not remembering is the act
you could have
of...
just given each of their families like 20, and they would have still had like 6,000.
It would have been nice if the brewery turned around and, gave a couple of them pounds to the families that...
Yeah, I'm sure they did not.
No.
I'm 100% sure they did not.
That bailout, luckily, maybe it is a lucky brewery, allowed them to continue their
lucky
operations.
with capitalism.
Yeah, they were allowed to continue those operations.
Rebuild their barrel? They shouldn't put all the beer in one barrel. You should have.
It wasn't. There was multiple of them. There was multiple. Yeah, right.
You shouldn't put all your eggs in one
In one
basket.
ba-
You
and your
shouldn't put
beer
all
in
your
one
beer in
barrel.
one barrel.
That's true. But the disaster, however, exposed the dangers of gigantic wooden fermentation vats held together with iron hoops.
I got another one.
Okay.
You're only as strong as your weakest hoop.
Your weakest hoop. That's true. That's so true. So, over the course of the 19th century, breweries shifted to safer materials. ceramic lined or concrete tanks in the mid 1800s. Which
I was right.
Yeah,
I
you
was
were.
like, oh, what if they made?
Yeah, they're like concrete lined, I think,
Okay.
but still, that was what was holding them together at that point was concrete. So that's smart, right? Glass and enamel tanks, sometimes in the smaller breweries. And then your next lab was another type of metal. And you said steel.
Yeah.
So by the 20th century, blank became the industry standard, which solved hygiene and safety issues. You got it right?
Yeah.
Stainless steel. Yeah. You got it. You nailed it.
Wow.
Nailed
we
it.
always, or like most of the time, seem to get like one right.
Yeah, I know,
think
right?
that's so funny.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Your last lab is I gave you a government department regarding safety. You said the Department of Health.
Yeah.
So overall, this story to me represents the reason behind departments like blank. What do you think?
Like, I don't know what the departments are called, but something.
You do. OSHA.
OSHA. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the regulations that are put into place to protect workers and the public at large.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially in fields like this one and like the fields that you and I work in, where you're working with like dangerous chemicals and stuff like that. Like, this is dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
There was no regulation at all back then, and not even any compensation for...
Yeah, or like accountability, like I said.
Right, that's what I'm
There's no,
saying.
like, they
Yeah.
failed their inspection then.
Right, yeah, no.
Or they can't continue until they prove their barrels are safe. There was no inspection.
No. Just a bailout.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad the governments have been doing that like for forever. And it's not just now then.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It's,
That's great.
yeah.
That's
So
heartwarming.
the more things change,
Things have always been
the more they stay the same.
Yeah.
Really, if you look at it that way. Anyway, that's my story of what will be eventually named like the Great London Beer Flood of 1814.
Okay, but then what happened to the quotes? Like, what was with the gin, misery, and disease thing?
Coincidence?
Oh, I was imagining that like the buildings like rot and become like fermented and disgusting.
No.
Full of
Not
beer?
that I read.
Huh.
This was just descriptions of St. Giles Rookery
In
general. But the reason that was important to me for the story was because it was such a slum that it did so much more damage.
Yeah, I see.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if these were sturdy houses and not very many families in one place and all that, like, it would have been way less catastrophic. But because it was a slum and there were so many people living in small areas and cellars and the houses were shit, But yeah, Dickens describes St. Giles, as...
So I'm sure this whole thing did not do anything good for their reputation either.
Yeah.
Like, it must have been even worse for them after that. Because
like I said, then they were not Irish hate.
Yeah, and then they were not only this bad slums area that's like full of crime and disease and stuff. Now it's also covered in rotten beer or whatever people would say about it now.
Those drunk Irish people over there getting drunk off of the beer flowing through the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. It couldn't have been good. It couldn't have been nice. And there was so many rumors.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was
my story.
You got a rabbit hole, right?
My rabbit hole will take us underneath waves of what waves are supposed to be made of. The water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in my life, although I am very nerdy and I like to learn lots of different things, have never, for pleasure, read through an entire nonfiction book.
Right. Yeah, you told me that.
I have started nonfiction books ever since I was a teenager and I started reading like Richard Dawkins and that kind of evolutionary books and stuff like that, I've started lots of his books. I've started lots of nonfiction books, never finished one.
Right.
I always reach a point where I'm like,
I know enough.
Yeah, maybe that's my arrogance. I'm sure that's my arrogance.
I know enough.
I'm like bored of the subject a little, and I like have gotten the point. I think, you know, I decide
I can converse on this subject
that I get the point of what they're trying to say, and I stop reading it.
Yeah,
and I'm not like this with novels. I never don't finish a novel. Like, even if I don't like it. Even if
you don't like it.
I will. There's very few novels that I have picked up that I won't finish.
Yeah, I'm the same.
So, it's just been something
I might be irritated the whole way through it.
Right. But more or less, I'll finish
keep going.
There are a couple I've not finished, but more or less, I always finish a novel.
Yeah.
But yeah, for whatever reason, I never finish a nonfiction book. So, my rabbit hole today is about the very first nonfiction book that I have read all the way through.
Nice. Congratulations.
I got it from the library. I did renew it 3 times. I also did return it 2 weeks late after those 3 times.
Well, you know.
Sorry, librarian friends. But it was just really good. It was about octopuses.
Yeah.
It's called Many Things Under a Rock by David Scheel.
Okay.
He's this field biologist who has been studying and observing octopus in labs and aquariums, but primarily in the wild for like 35 years.
Okay.
And he's like the preeminent octopus source of knowledge about octopus.
Right.
Another thing that was really great about his work and his book was that he didn't only rely on Western science, but he spoke with many different indigenous people and tribes all over the world who have lived and worked with octopuses for much longer than we've been studying them.
Wow, now that's interesting.
And tried to incorporate their knowledge and understanding of these animals into his research as well.
Wow.
And he spoke of all of his research and the tribe's knowledge about octopus in such a almost lyrical, imaginative, and descriptive way that I was like captivated. So
okay.
I did finish the book. It took me a long time.
Nice.
But the last part of the book was about octopus societies.
Right.
So I feel like I can't learn everything I learned about octopus and then not learn about fucking octopus societies. That was what gripped me till the end.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, so the book was called Many Things Under a Rock. He talked a lot about all the weird ways that we've observed octopus intelligence. Okay. Most particularly striking thing about their intelligence is that it's not a centralized nervous system like we have. I don't know if you know this.
No.
I already knew this.
I don't think I know this.
About an octopus's nervous system. That's what drew me to this book, is because they're extremely intelligent, but they're also invertebrates.
Okay.
So that we don't know of many other invertebrates that are like rival primate intelligence, for example.
Right. Okay.
And they do not have a centralized nervous system, meaning we have a centralized nervous system. Most of our nerves are in our brain. Right. And then secondly, our spinal cord. Yep. Mm-hmm. Right? So we're centralized into those 2 areas, mostly our brain. Correct. Mm-hmm. But in an octopus's body, they do have a brain, like something like a brain. Okay. It's like a collection of ganglia in the head. Okay. Of nerve cells. But most of their nerve cells are dispersed throughout their tentacles. And each tentacle has a mini little ganglia cluster as well. So it's almost like each arm has, I should call them arms, like little tentacles. Little brain? Yeah. Each arm has a little brain, and they kind of act independently from the head. Huh. That's creepy. Yeah. So one of my favorite stories that I read, he tells like just a lot of stories of the octopuses he would encounter in the wild and notable observations he made. There was one story that I really liked that demonstrated this arm brain versus head brain scenario. He was talking about the foods that they eat, and that they eat lots of clams and crabs and different things like that.
Okay.
But they have like little preferences. Like they like each octopus likes certain kinds of food the best. And stuff.
Interesting.
And different regions, there's like a more popular food in that region that the octopus eat.
Aw.
It's not always the most plentiful food either. But so there's this one story where he was watching an octopus and he saw the octopus reach out with its arm, kind of like it wasn't looking in that direction. It's like the arm was just
Doing
the arm kind of like the suckers can feel, but mostly they're kind of tasting also. It's like a touch taste. That's why he kept calling it.
Okay.
So it would be searching around for food, and there were these little clams that would like pop up, and it grabbed a clam. Okay. So it's like the head didn't know that the arm even had that clam in its hand.
Really?
So it would grab it, and then like later it would be walking away, and it would see the clam, and it would inspect it, like look at it and stuff. But this particular species of clam or oyster or something like that,
right,
had a symbiotic relationship with a sponge or like a mollusk or something that looked like a sponge.
Right.
So that it smelled and tasted like food for the arm. And the arm picked it up. It felt like food. It tasted like it on its suckers. But when the head looked at it, it looked like sponge, not food.
Right.
So he dropped it. The octopus dropped it.
Really?
Twice. The same cycle. The same octopus did the same thing. He watched it in a row.
Damn it, arm
the arm
five. Stop picking that up.
Yeah, but the arm was right, is the funny thing. The eyes were seeing that it didn't look like
didn't
a clam,
look right,
you know, because it had this...
the feelers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, come on, I promise it's food. It tastes good. Taste it. So I thought that was pretty funny. Like that they really do act independently from each other.
Right.
One will make conclusions. The arm will make a conclusion. And then the head can make a conclusion that's totally different.
Wow.
Another thing is that like when they would cut a piece of the tentacle off in the lab for some reason.
Okay.
Or if it was cut off in the wild and they observed that in the wild, the arm will still move and grasp things on its own.
Yeah.
And it'll even motion towards where the head might be.
Towards the head? Oh
yeah.
God.
Even though it's severed.
Ugh.
Freaky, right?
That's really creepy.
To the point where he said he
it.
stopped doing those experiments because he felt bad for the arms.
Oh God.
Isn't that weird?
Yes.
So weird.
Oh God.
So weird. I'm not like that part.
No.
Yeah. Another thing I thought was interesting about their intelligence, let's move on from the arms because that was freaky.
Yeah.
They are really good at assessing different agents in the environment, like could be a predator, could be prey, could be a human. They recognize that these are all different agents working in the environment in different ways. And they're able to pinpoint, this is something I should be neutral towards, like a big fish that isn't bothering me. This is something I can possibly eat or chase. This is a predator. Let me stay away. You know, it's really good at determining that. And particularly, he noticed that the octopus would be really good at determining where a human's line of sight is. Like, the way that an octopus camouflages is that they change not only the color but the pattern and texture of their skin to
I do know
really blend in
I
perfectly.
saw like some sort of nature something or other one time, and it focused a lot on that, of the changing of the patterns and the textures, and like every little nerve on their skin can independently change this or that. Yeah, I have seen that before.
So what this guy, David Scheel, started noticing is that when they would camouflage from him while he's watching them, not only, it's because if you think about, it took me a minute to like wrap my mind around what he was saying here. If you think about like you're in the ocean, there's many things behind you, for example. If you're trying to hide and camouflage to whatever's behind you from some predator, or whatever, they know that humans aren't like they're predators. They seem to know they act differently towards us. But whatever agent in the environment that you're trying to hide from, you need to know in which angle they're looking at you. right?
Yeah.
Because if they're over here and they're looking at you versus if they're over here on a different angle from you and looking at you, and or if their head is here but they're looking like this,
Right.
you know, they're looking like to the side.
So they change
But they're
based
peripheral.
on
They can
even
tell,
where the eyes go?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
they can tell where our line of sight is, but when they're watching us, to be able to hide, to be able to
Right.
camouflage with what's directly
That
behind them
direction.
based on where our eyesight is,
Wow.
where our eye line is going. Like that's how
Wow.
precise they
Yeah,
are
that's
at
crazy.
stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And they can even do that with a portion of their body. They can camouflage a portion with one
Right.
pattern and color and a portion of their body with the other.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
insane.
really crazy.
It's really crazy to watch. Yeah.
They also seem to dream
Okay.
because while they're sleeping, their pattern rapidly shifts. And in like a wave sometimes. Like
Right,
something's
right.
happening.
Right.
And they can even pinpoint octopuses make a certain pattern when they're being chased versus when they're chasing.
Right.
Or when they're hiding or when they're, doing something. They can notice these different patterns in the octopus while it's asleep. Wow. So they can kind of almost pinpoint
Like what they're
dreaming about.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
And it even seems to match up with the pattern that we sleep and dream in. Like
Okay.
humans, the way that we sleep is that we alternate between REM sleep and non-REM sleep throughout the night.
Okay.
We'll have a little bit of one and then a little bit of the other. Then we'll go back and forth. And most of our dreams happen during REM sleep.
Okay.
An octopus goes through the same
Same
cycles.
thing?
So they'll have like a stationary period of sleep and then followed by a few minutes of their wildly shifting patterns, which they must be dreaming, and then another stationary period of time,
Wow.
Thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They also seem to be self-aware in a way.
Okay. How do you mean?
One way that he described it was that they are cannibalistic. They will eat another octopus.
Oh, wow.
And that's pretty common.
Okay.
They'll eat a piece of an octopus, like an arm or something. But they won't even grasp a piece of their own arm. They won't hold it. They'll if they need to pick it up,
Use both of
they'll
them?
barely touch it with the smallest piece of their little arm to
That's
not touch it.
Freaky.
Yeah.
Wow.
And their suckers usually automatically grab onto something whenever they reach out to it.
Yeah.
But if they're reaching out to their own arm,
it doesn't suck?
the suckers won't grab onto it.
Wow. That's weird.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Yeah. I mentioned this earlier, but they show lots of preferences in their decisions, like individual preferences.
Yeah.
They'll take the same paths, even if it's not the most straight path.
Oh, interesting.
They'll go to the same spots to find food,
Right,
even
right.
if it's not the most plentiful. They will even wait and search out for the particular types of food that they like the best.
Yeah.
Even when they're hard to find. They like them. We know a lot about
They're
them
silly.
based on the stuff they drop from when they
Okay.
eat and they just drop all the stuff around them as they eat.
Right.
Then I got to the part at the end about the octopus societies.
Okay.
It's not there doesn't seem to be much evidence for big cities of octopuses, which was what I was hoping for.
Yes.
But they're mostly solitary. They live alone. They don't want to be around others. Even
Okay.
the male octopus has to secretly, sneakily try to mate with the female. Because if she notices, she'll often turn around and attack him and kill him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But there's a couple of specific locations in the ocean where they've observed many generations of octopuses living together in these spots.
Oh, really?
And they call them Octopolis and Octlantis.
Okay.
And they seem to congregate in those areas because the food is very abundant, but there's no cover. There's nowhere to hide.
Okay.
And so together they
Right.
have come up with these ways to like avoid the predators
Right.
without cover and still be able to eat a lot of the food. And then usually they leave the food scraps in front of their own little dens.
Okay.
But in these two spots, they make like a big mound in the middle.
Really?
They bring the food from their dens.
They bring all their garbage?
They bring the garbage from their
my
little dens to the middle, and they make like a big mound of it.
Oh my gosh.
And in these areas, they've been observed to protect their neighbor. Like there was a female and a male in two dens next to each other.
Yeah.
And like I said before, they usually don't interact and they don't care about the males. They'll even kill the male if they notice that they're trying to mate.
Right.
But in this time, they observed in Octopolis that another male came and tried to steal the den of this girl's neighbor.
Tried to kick her out? Kick him out?
Tried to kick her little boyfriend out.
Oh.
Okay, and I'm anthropomorphizing now. But he tried to come and kick her little boyfriend. First, she didn't react. She just let them fight.
Right.
But then he got kicked out. The foreigner, the intruder came and kicked him out, and he really did get kicked out, and he was there, and he was kind of hurt out in front of her den.
The conqueror took the den?
Yeah, and you know what? She came out, and she fought him until he left.
She kicked the conqueror
And then,
out?
yes, and she reached in with her arms and was like fighting and pulled him out, and like she was going to kill him, and he ran away.
That's great.
And then she like took one arm and like touched the little head of the boy octopus. Like she patted him on the head. And then he went back into his house.
Back in there, you little scamp.
That was my favorite part.
That's super cute. I like that.
They even have that in this. They observed in Octopolis that there's one male all the time who acts as like a little bodyguard. And usually they all stay in their dens and they don't like cross the open water very often, except this one. Whenever somebody's coming back from hunting and they need to go get to their den, he'll like escort.
He escorts?
Yeah, he escorts them and then he goes back to his little position. And he like alerts everyone if there's something crazy coming.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah.
So yeah, the book was my rabbit hole this week.
That's fun. I like that. That's really, really crazy.
I learned a lot of octopus facts. I'm full of them.
Yeah. When was the book written? Like, is it old or?
It's not that old. 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So it's recent.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, congratulations on your first way through your
completed
whole
nonfiction book of my life.
book. So super proud of you.
You know what? Actually, I guess technically I read Frida Carson's histology textbook all the way through.
It's true. Probably a couple of times.
Probably.
Yeah.
So I guess my second nonfiction book.
R.I.P. Frida.
Yes. Yes.
So we'll be back in 2 weeks.
With another crazy story from me this time.
And I will guess the lab libs.
And you might get one right.
Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we'll be back.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye.